Okay, we're going to look at the elbow joint. We're going to look at active, passive and resisted tests. We're also going to look at the forearm, okay, because within the elbow we've got the elbow joint and we've got the superior and inferior radial ulnar joint. Okay, Jen, are you okay for me to do some assessments with you today?
Yeah, that's great.
That's great, okay. The first thing we're going to do is active movements. Okay, Jen, for the first one I want you to do, can you extend your arms out for me as far as you can? Again, elbows comparing both sides. Can you bring your elbows up for me as far as you can? Okay, again comparing both sides. So that's elbow extension for me and elbow flexion. Okay, lovely. Alright, now we're going to look at forearm. We're going to look at the superior and inferior radial ulnar joints. So Jen, can you just hold your hands here and can you just turn your thumbs into the middle? Okay, brilliant. And now your thumbs out. Okay, so in is pronation and out is supination. And those are active movements of the elbow and radial ulnar joints. We're now going to look at passive movements of the elbow and radial ulnar joints. Okay, so Jen, can you extend your arms for me as far as you can? I'm going to come in support underneath the elbow and just extend by pushing down. Okay?
Yep.
I'll do the same on the other side. Right, now on this side again, can you bring your elbow up as far as you can? Again, support under the elbow and pushing down. Okay? Down. Alright? That was active, that was passive, elbow flexion and extension. Now we're going to look at the radial ulnar joints. So again, we're going to take Jen's arm here. We're going to hold the elbow and we're just going to, above the wrist, make sure your hand's above the wrist. Turn for me as far as you can and I'm just going to rotate a bit more. Okay, so she's turning her thumb in, putting her hand above the wrist, supporting the elbow and rotating a bit more. Make sure the elbow's about 90 degrees for this. Can you turn over the other way now as far as you can? So your thumb's out the way. Again with this, supporting and rotating. Okay, so that's supination. Alright, so those were passive movements of the elbow and radial ulnar joints. We're now going to look at resisted movements of the elbow and radial ulnar joints. Okay, Jen, thank you. 90 degrees, elbow at 90 degrees. Again, make sure your hand is above the wrist and pull up for me against my hand hard as you can and relax. So that's resisted elbow flexion. And now hand underneath, make sure you're above the wrist, support the elbow, elbow at 90 degrees. And I'm going to ask Jen to push her hand into this hand as hard as you can. Push down and relax. So that's resisted elbow extension. Now we're going to look at the radial ulnar joint. Please again make sure that your hand's above the wrist. We don't involve the wrist with this. So for pronation, get your thumb on the inside of the forearm, support underneath the elbow, and again you're going to ask Jen to rotate her thumb into the middle, and you're resisting that, and relax. For supination, we're going to swap hands, and you're going to push. So the handling for that is coming above. You want to show people there? So that's the handling there. And that's for resisted supination. Pronation, the handling, again, above the wrist, thumb going up, and that's where you go. Okay? And that was resisted tests of the elbow and radial ulnar joints.